The Kythera had ruled the Outer Rim for 3 millennia, their sleek obsidian ships cutting through the void like death itself. They were apex predators in every sense, 7 feet of chitinous armor, razor-sharp claws, and a hunger that could only be satisfied by the terror of lesser species. Their raids were surgical, calculated, designed to harvest fear as much as flesh. They had catalogued hundreds of species across the galaxy. Most cowered at the first sight of their ships. Some fought briefly before surrendering. A few, like the Zenthari, had even tried to negotiate tribute arrangements. The Kythera accepted these offerings with the same cold efficiency they brought to everything else. But they had never encountered humans. When their scouts first detected the small blue world orbiting an unremarkable yellow star, the readings seemed almost too good to be true. A young species, barely into their first century of spaceflight, primitive weapons, no unified planetary defense. The preliminary reports suggested they might not even put up a fight. Commander Vexhai studied the data with predatory satisfaction. These humans appeared soft, emotional, lacking the natural armor and claws that marked true survivors. Their children were particularly vulnerable, small, weak, utterly defenseless, perfect prey. The raid on the human colony of New Eden was meant to be routine. The Kythera descended through the atmosphere like a plague of metal locusts, their weapons carving through the settlement's modest defenses in minutes. They moved through the streets with practiced efficiency, herding the terrified colonists into containment fields. Vexhai himself selected the prize, a human child no more than 6 years old with bright green eyes that reflected the firelight of her burning home. The girl didn't scream like most prey. She simply stared at him, with a mixture of fear and defiance that amused him. He decided she would make an excellent addition to his personal collection. The Kythera withdrew as quickly as they had come, leaving behind smoking ruins and shattered lives. It was just another successful hunt, another harvest of terror to sustain their empire. They had no idea what they had just unleashed. The first sign that something had changed came 3 weeks later. A Kythera patrol ship in the Helix Nebula simply vanished. No distress signal, no debris field, nothing but empty space where the vessel should have been. Vexhai dismissed it as equipment failure or perhaps an encounter with a gravitational anomaly. The second ship disappeared 6 days after that, then a third, then an entire squadron. By the time Vexhai realized they were being hunted, it was already too late. The humans had found them. What emerged from the data fragments recovered from the destroyed ships defied everything the Kythera thought they knew about warfare. These weren't the crude, lumbering vessels their scouts had reported. The human ships moved like ghosts, appearing from nowhere to deliver devastating strikes before vanishing again into the void. But it wasn't just their technology that had evolved, it was their strategy. The humans fought with a cold, systematic precision that reminded Vexhai uncomfortably of his own species. They targeted Kythera supply lines, communication networks, breeding colonies. They struck with surgical accuracy, crippling the Empire's infrastructure piece by piece. And they never, ever stopped. Vexhai tried to contact the human leadership, hoping to negotiate some form of ceasefire. The response came in the form of a single transmission, broadcast across all Kythera frequencies. The message was simple. The child's name was Emma Chen. She was 7 years old, and she had liked to draw pictures of flowers. That was all. The systematic dismantling of the Kythera Empire continued with relentless efficiency. Their outer territories fell first, then their core worlds. The humans employed tactics that pushed the boundaries of conventional warfare, nanotechnology that corrupted Kythera life support systems, quantum viruses that turned their own artificial intelligence against them, biological weapons specifically, designed to target Kythera physiology. Vexhai finally understood what made humans truly dangerous. It wasn't their technology or their tactics, it was their capacity for focused, sustained hatred. The Kythera hunted for pleasure, for the thrill of dominance. But humans hunted for something far more powerful, love twisted into vengeance. The last Kythera stronghold fell on a Tuesday. Vexhai found himself face to face with the human admiral, who had orchestrated his species' destruction. a woman with steel-gray hair and eyes that held no warmth whatsoever. "Where is she?" Admiral Chen asked quietly. Vexai's mandibles clicked, nervously. "The child, she died months ago. We don't usually keep prey for—" The Admiral's expression didn't change, but something in her posture shifted. "Emma was my granddaughter." In that moment, Vexai finally grasped the full scope of what his species had stumbled into. The humans hadn't just declared war, they had committed to genocide, and they possessed something the Kithara had never developed: the ability to transform love into a weapon more devastating than any technology. The Kithara Empire, which had terrorized the galaxy for 3,000 years, ceased to exist that day. Not a single member of their species survived the human retribution. Their worlds were sterilized, their ships atomized, their very genetic code wiped from existence. In the aftermath, other predator species across the galaxy took note. A new rule emerged among the raiders and slavers of the Outer Rim, passed down in whispered warnings through dark cantinas and hidden bases. Never touch a human child. The humans, they learned, were patient hunters. They would follow you across the galaxy. They would dismantle your civilization piece by piece. And they would not stop until every last trace of your existence had been erased from the universe. The galaxy's apex predators had finally met their match.